Hello Perfect Beauties, my name is Daisy, and for today's TMI video, where I cover a topic that you guys want to know but are too afraid to ask, I'm going to be talking about yeast infections. Because that's what you wanted to hear in my latest video. So you might have an yeast infection if you feel like a lot of itchiness down there or a thick discharge. Yeast infections are caused by a bacteria called candida, a type of fungus that grows out of control. Normally you have a certain amount of candida in your body that's perfectly fine, but sometimes that amount can be out of balance with the rest of your body, which causes a yeast infection. So what are the causes of a yeast infection? Well, the first cause can be a course of antibiotics. Because as you guys know, antibiotics kill bacteria. Not only do they kill the bad bacteria, they can also kill the good bacteria, which keeps your flora and fauna in sync. And the good bacteria is what keeps the yeast in check before they have to multiply. Number 2 is pregnancy. So obviously when you're pregnant, your hormones level change, and those hormone levels can cause a yeast infection. 3 is eating a lot of sugary foods. So not only is eating a lot of sugary foods bad for your teeth and your waistline, but can also cause a yeast infection. Number 4 is douching. Now, I don't mean douchebags like your ex-boyfriend, but douching can disrupt the level of the bacteria's down there, so it might cause a yeast infection. Douching can change the acidity levels down there, which may cause a yeast infection. 5. Also, people with uncontrollable diabetes might have extra sugar in their body, and again, as we said before, sugar is a food source for yeast. So, what are the symptoms of a yeast infection? Itchiness around the genitals, burning, thick or white gray discharge, pain during sex. So yeast infections are most common in girls, but sometimes guys can get them. If you suspect you have a yeast infection, go visit a doctor so they can make sure it's not something else like an STD or something worse. Also, a lot of girls can get repeat yeast infection. So if you do notice that you have a yeast infection, you went to the doctors, it's confirmed it's a yeast infection, you keep getting them, there are home remedies you can do to treat them. Yeast infections are usually harmless, and usually they just cause discomfort and itchiness. If the yeast infection is very mild, sometimes you can wait until you get your period, because your period will help clear up the yeast infection and you won't need any medication. So if you do have a yeast infection, no worries. I'm gonna give you 6 ways on how to treat them. There are over-the-counter antifungal creams or suppositories that you can use to treat yeast infections. Make sure you follow the directions on the package and avoid having sex while on the treatment. Number 2 is using, let me try to pronounce this, probiotic lactobacillus pills. So you insert the pills 1 to 2 times daily up to 3 months. And supplement that eating with a lot of yogurt, but try to buy yogurt that isn't loaded with some sugar. So here are some ways to prevent a yeast infection. First is always try wiping front to back. This not only helps prevent yeast infections, but also helps prevent urinary tract infection. And I have a video on that, which I'll link below if you guys are interested in what that is. Number 2 is change out of a wet bathing suit or other damp clothing very quickly, because most warm environments promote yeast. Number 3 is to wear cotton underwear and avoid wearing really tight clothing that traps heat and moisture. Number 4 is to don't douche. Number 5 is to eat probiotic foods like yogurt, but avoid eating the really sugary kinds, because as we said before, yeast feeds off of that. 6, and avoid being around hot tubs, because again, moisture and heat attract yeast infections. So if you keep getting yeast infections and treatments don't work, go see a doctor. Some people get more than 4 yeast infections in a year, and this requires more aggressive treatments. So I hope you guys learned something about yeast infection, and I hope I helped you with your itchiness down there if you do suffer from it. And thank you all so much for watching on TMI Tuesdays, where I cover a topic that you guys want to know but are too afraid to ask. And as always, don't forget to write below on what topic you want me to talk about for next week's TMI Tuesday. Until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!